and recording. Oh, no, let me get the recording. Record settings. Oh, I can't change it. Stop recording. Recording. There we go. Hey guys, I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for coming. Make sure I got the proper mics going. Yep. Here we go. Yeah, you got to tell me how to pronounce your name, brother. Diallo. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. I've seen you on and off. I just don't, I don't know. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining. I had a good day. It was had an emotional day this morning. Did not expect to have an emotional day this morning. I was talking on the VIP inspirational discussion group, and I about broke, man. It was a tough thing. It's because of a lot of things, but really just um, anyway. Watch it. I'm gonna have it posted for you tomorrow, and we're gonna or maybe tonight, and we'll you can make your own decision. It was one of those things where I'm glad it happened, and at the same time, I wish I could control myself a little bit better. Nevertheless, thank you guys for coming on this Q&A. I'm going to be discussing one point before we go into the questions. We only have a few questions today. I don't want this to be any longer than it has to be. So if I don't mind answering questions, I am a little bit tired. And when you have an emotional day, for some reason you get drained. But it's been a productive day. But any questions that you have, just get them posted into the down below. You'll see a Q&A section where you can post your question. If you need to post them, you can post them in the chats, either on the YouTube side or on the Zoom side. So yeah, absolutely, Michelle. Reach out, text your name here, and I'll give you some instructions on what to do. And we'll go through your link and all that of how to get started. Anyway, the bottom line is there is a lot going on in this world, and a lot of people don't know what is right from wrong or truth or from fiction, and I get it. There's a lot of reasons to feel that way, and I think it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. I was explaining to the VIP members this morning what they can kind of look for in the next 10 years. And, I'm everybody's going to be a podcaster, everybody's going to be an online influencer, everybody's going to be a motivational speaker, everybody's going to be selling products online, everybody's going to all be tied to the internet. Um, and AI is going to take over eventually everything. The consumer industry, the tech industry for sure, industrial, automation, everything, every element of cars being created right now is robots and AI. The fine tuning the human element is being whisked out. The cost to produce eventually equipment, machines, and all that is going by the wayside fast. And I know we all kind of feel like, hey, once AI takes over, this natural bliss that we're supposed to be feeling because we are getting an automated deposit. They're going to pass the benefits on to us because we're not going to have to work. Let me ask you a question, guys. Just let's be smart here. When was the last time a banker ever passed on a benefit to us? You know what I'm saying? When was the last time they called you and said, hey, you're not getting your fair share? And they don't do that. So I think this whole thought process of artificial intelligence being created to our benefit is got to be rethought. And I know that you guys are with me on that. And there are some things that are going to be amazing that are going to come from it. And we do have to figure out a way to kind of piggyback on all of it. It doesn't need to, I hear people talking about, hey, it's demons, it's this, and there are some compelling stuff to think about in reference to all that. But there's not enough factual evidence for me to think, okay, that's where it's headed, that's where it's at, or that's I would agree though. It's if I was the devil and I was trying to be like God, one of the factors the devil will never get like is omnipotence, and where you can be everywhere at all times, see everything at once, and and having that ability to where you can answer the world all their questions at once, kind of like artificial intelligence is doing somewhat to some degree today, and that in the future will be much more powerful. These AIs are getting to a point where um it's fun, the workload, what you used to have to pay a graphics designer to do is being done in 10 or 15 seconds right now. My thumbnails for my YouTubes are a lot better. I don't know if you noticed my thumbnail today. I'm right in the back of a bunch of bankers in my 1776 Colonial Freedom outfit. It's pretty awesome to be able to create an image like that in about 12 seconds, 13 seconds, and get it posted and not have to spend $150. Now, to all the graphics designers that spend all the time learning Adobe Photoshop, I'm sorry. You know, there's a lot of jobs that are going to be going out by the wayside. So when thinking about it, what is a career that you're going to be able to do and withstand for a long period of time? Number one, I've always said to His Advocates members and to His Advocates workers uh, that I will not ever replace them with AI. I will support them with AI, but I will not replace them with AI. If they can perform in a different function or position that they can, work in, um, that AI can support, absolutely. Why wouldn't I want to use an intelligence to bring forth an action that would help people out? I got to tell you something. I have been able to get to a point where we're starting to program AI to do any kind of position possible, meaning to repeat the knowledge of what I have put forth into our ticket systems, put forth into these Q&As, um, into trainings, into what have you. We're going to be dumping into an AI bot, calling it whatever, a Kelby bot or a living in the private bot, to where it will categorize, create a knowledge base system, and allow for people to get answers on a much quicker, more personalized basis, to where they can ask a question and get literally an answer. And all I have to do is review the questions and answers for, 3 or 4 months. And I got a trained employee that's going to be able to do every single customer service inquiry, every single post, and every single response. And then I can take that guy that was in that position and put him in a position where he's overseeing and making sure the answers are correct in accordance to the list of Q&A questions and answers that we gave it, and that we're getting the appropriate responses. Now, there are some things that it cannot do. Like it doesn't know lawful procedure in every single element, but I mean, it's blowing my mind at what it does know. Um, but the point I'm trying to make is I don't think what they think is going to happen in the timelines to which we are being presented with on Rumble, BitChute, YouTube. I don't think it's going to happen in those timelines. I think we got a little bit more time, probably double of what they think is going to happen, meaning the total takeover. I think you're looking at 2040, 2045-ish. And I do see robots everywhere, artificial intelligence controlling everything. I see a control grid. I see a social credit score system, all that kind of stuff pretty much by that time. And you better have your ducks in a row. You better be in an area or a place where you can afford to be above that or be outside of that. Now, what does that look like for the world? I don't know. I don't know. I have watched the same movies you have with, Terminator 1, 2, and 3. I've watched The Matrix. I've watched pretty much every end of life movie there is out there. And it's not because I'm into depressionary things or, like 2012. What a great movie. Watching California fall off into the ocean. I mean, what a great movie. Jaws, what a great movie. Seeing sharks in the water scare me out of the ocean for the next 100 years. Um, I'm a movie goer and I like movies and I don't like horror movies. But in watching all those movies and kind of get it literally, they're telling a story. They are foretelling something that maybe they're trying to put together themselves. And that has to be taken into consideration at the very minimum for yourself and your family. Terminator, you guys like Cyberdyne, like they literally created the name of their institute, the same name as the one in the movie Terminator. They literally are showing us what they are trying to do within those movies. It's blowing my mind. Um, Now does that mean they're going to carry forward everything in the movie? They, like iRobot with Will Smith. Very interesting movie. It's just we know it's here. We know these robots are here. We are watching the robots fight human beings now. We're watching them go out of control. A little scary, you know. I actually thought to myself, there's no way a robot can take me down. And I know there's strength and I know they can have a weapon pop out and I get all that. Um, but I've kind of watched, I don't even want to get into that, but you see how the programmers that are dealing with these out of control robots and what they're doing online. If you looked at this kind of stuff enough, you would know what they're doing. But it's like, why? Why is it for our benefit? Maybe initially that's what's being told, but there's no way that ultimately that is what it's for. And I want to say this to you because we as a society of people have to create our own civilization, our own utopia, if we wish. That would be outside of the jurisdiction. And there's going to be places like that all over the world. There's going to be islands. There's going to be places that are not able to be reached. Like there is not going to be the ability for these machines or this AI to take over every single location in the world. It's just not a plausible thing. And when when we does that mean I want to live in some remote island somewhere? I don't know, maybe. Does that mean I'm going to lose my home? I don't know, maybe. But what I do know is that right now I have peace. What I do know is right now I have security somewhat. What I do know is everything I'm watching on TV, I don't need to take it at face value. I don't need to believe it. Like this whole Trump um everything that we're watching about Trump, everything with this last assassination attack, everything that we're watching about Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk's wife, everything that it's all a play. So who cares? What I care about is the people reorganizing. What I care about is the people's freedom. I care about babies, infants. I care about what I can care about, what we do have control on. I know that we have control at keeping babies from getting vaccinated, keeping babies from getting birth certificated. I know we have those controls. We still do. I see it happen all the time. I know that we can take a baby and raise a baby and get a baby a passport and live a full life where that baby is not the pledged surety for the debt of these defunct corporations. I know what their plans are. They tell us their plans, but none of that I've come to realize as a mature adult male. I need to breathe in and soak in and digest as if it's personalized for me. So I want to encourage you guys because freedom is a very delicate space. And one of the things that we're talking about with our VIP members on hisadvocates.org is you cannot be physically free unless you are emotionally and spiritually free. You just can't. There's no such thing as a freedom if you're a bondservant to evil or if you're a bondservant to stress or worry. There are people that have fears. There are people that have fears of death. There are people that have fears of being taken over, and there's nothing that you can do about any of those fears. And the fact that you have a fear like that is indicating that you have dwelt in or thought about that so much that it's become a repeating record in your mind versus being very cautious with what you are allowing in your mind as a free man or a free woman. So that's why I say, how can you be free if you're a bondservant to fear? How can you be free if you're a bondservant to government control, meaning you fear it? And you can't. You just can't. So the fact that you're free physically and you have your paperwork dialed, that's a good thing, but it means nothing if you can't live it out in that emotional state, in that physical state. Yes, physically you're free, but in an emotional state that believes you, in a spiritual state that you know where you're going. And then none of those fears matter. So one of the things that we really do and focus on with his advocates, VIP members, is retraining their minds. And I've been since January 2nd on a course training, and we've done 25 or 30 of them in dealing with the elements of restructuring up the way that we think. And I think I've done a good job. I've really shared my heart, my experiences, and what I've had to go through because I went through the gamut that you all probably experience when you're dealing with fears of certain things. I've done it, I've lived it, I've been there. Now, I'm not sure that anything is more important these days than just being in a state where we can resonate with our Father, meaning our spiritual Father. I don't think anything is more important than us being open and understanding truly what a walk really means as a believer, or how important the word maybe actually is in understanding why they are doing everything that they are doing against our consciousness, against our brain waves, against our ability to have frequencies that resonate and help us to do things like heal. Now, look, I'm going to go a little sideways here. The times that I experienced healing in my body, I shared with y'all an experience that happened at 19 where my whole chest got hot. And then I was instantly healed. And I never touched another drug again in my life since then. That experience showed me that God works through events that are unexplainable, but that got me to a point where my body was actually physically manifesting a healing, and to where I went from X to X within 10 seconds. And I knew I had touched or I'd felt the presence of God. Now, how important would it be for a government to either understand what happened or to make sure that that never was identifiable for an individual on a personal basis again? They don't want you to believe in a God. They want you to believe in the narrative that they are God, or that they are going to introduce us to our gods in the near future, some alien race, some force that they've known about and studied about, and then watch all these movies roll out after one after another, talking about where our origins are, where we came from, and giving us evidence and giving us all these things that have zero factual basis. You know what I mean? But it's going to steer a lot of people into that direction, in that road. How important would it be to create chemicals that we would breathe, that we would eat, that would change the resonance frequency of how we feel, how we think, how we operate, could program us subconsciously by music, by radio, with frequencies, could program us through any number. Guys, I think we have more stuff going on in the world that we are not ready for to be heard, that are happening at a level of complete and total critical chaos against the people of the world, where they are pushing frequencies, where they are pushing things that we don't yet understand, that are programmed or developing or dropping programs into our mind, or developing or dropping words in our mind, or are giving us a frequency of hearing something in our mind. I think we are going to start experiencing that. You heard it from me April 28th, 2026. You've heard it from me before. I'm just saying, I think this is the year to where your relationship, your personal freedom has to go beyond personal, has to go beyond your docs. Your personal freedom has to go next level. You have to talk about freeing your mind. And I'm not talking the Matrix style, eating a blue or a red pill. You have to go beyond and dealing with the emotional state, and understanding why God gave us the principles of the word, why God gave us what he gave us so that we could live without fear. And yeah, man is going to do all kinds of things, but the more I have studied what man is doing, do you know what they are limited against? Any believer with a solid walk. They are limited against God's people. God's people is the restraint, the very wall that they run against. And I want you to never, ever forget what I just said. So when you stand before kings, when you stand before generals, when you stand before tyranny, understand something. Your entire life was being brought to and for that one moment. That this speech that you heard today was another guiding tool for that moment. That you do not operate in fear, that 365 times the Bible talks about that is finally going to be something that you say to yourself every day, 365 days a year, that I do not fear. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I think we need to get the hearts and the minds and our resonance frequency corrected. I think when we do that, we will know who we are, because these tests that they are doing are not effective on people like me or like you. And I'm not talking about every test. I'm just talking about how they have power over individual minds. They do not have power over believers' minds. We are protected by the Elohim, the God, the deposit of the Holy Spirit. We are protected. And that's why the VIP membership base on His Advocates, we are really working hard to understand who we are as men and women, and to understand that us as Davids can defeat the foe. Us as believers, us as a body of people standing firm with the knowledge of who we are, the embedded very nature of God within us, that they will not strike. They can't, in a lot of different respects, without the very permission of God Himself, that we will be protected, and that it's not going to be what a lot of people think. And with that, I just want to let you guys know that our lives are going to be changed. There's going to be good roads that we can choose. There's going to be difficult roads that we can choose, but it is a choice. They don't have autonomy over everybody, and it's not just a pick and choose or grabbing at the one or two that they can hang on to, that they catch up to, or that the slowest person. It's not like that. We will have each other. We will have community. We will have security. And I have been saying this to people for a long time. Do you remember about 5 years ago, Klaus Schwab started saying, you will own nothing and you will like it. I started thinking to myself, how are they going to do that? Knowing contract law, how are they going to do that? Because they honor the contracts. I know you think they don't, but the contracts that you're talking about, I can pretty much rip apart in a second. They honor the contracts because they have to. And I'm not going to get into that with you because you can talk foreclosures all day long. And those, I'm not going to say those are a contract. You don't even own your house. You didn't even accept the deed on it. Okay. So let's not talk about they honor contracts because they do. They do. When you have a properly effected agreement. That's my point. You don't in a foreclosure. You don't in a bank account. You don't with the IRS. You just don't. You're a debtor all the way across the board, your entirety of your life. They can do what they want to do because you are their property, is my point. I'm not trying to shake it up for you, but I'm trying to give you a reality check. Once you become free and you take personal accountability to what you've been signing and how you've been signing, the whole element of what an agreement completely shifts. The whole element of what a deed is and how it needs to be accepted and what meets and bounds are versus, a legal description. Those are all things that we start accepting. Oh my gosh. That's how Klaus Schwab knows that they will own everything and we will like it because they already do. We can take back as much as we can, as fast as we can, for the glorious nature of God. As now, we are working on automation that will allow for people to effectively have their deed properly formatted and take it down to the county recorder. And now they own land in the name of a foundation using gold. Super important. I know y'all don't need to understand everything that I'm about to say, but we are going to take back what they have stolen from the people, and we're going to do it on a mass basis. And there is nothing they can do about it. They think that they can just naturally steal things, and they are, and they're doing it using a court of law, and they are disobeying the rules and procedures and laws all the time to steal from people left and right. It's a sad day that we are in. The United States is a criminal organization designed to fleece the people of the United States of America. Straight up. They're criminal. They will never bring to justice anybody from the Epstein stuff, the Epstein files. They will never bring that stuff to justice. That is an organization that was designed by the CIA and Mossad, I'm guessing, based on who was involved, but very much for the purposes of having dirt on the appropriate people. And according to a lot of people, I don't know if it's true or not, but the president, Donald Trump, is in the Epstein files more than anybody else out there. Look, when you have Donald Trump saying, I like Bill and Hillary Clinton, that's a problem. Okay? You're watching an act, they are protecting their own, and there's about 1,000 of those people in those positions, and we are 350 million. Why is it we don't know who we are? They have done it. They have kicked us, slide swiped our legs. We are sitting on our butts, trying to stand up, and we're trying to figure out what a man walks like again. You know what I mean? We are learning about who we are. who we need to be before our Father, what we need to think like about ourselves, and let the fears go. Nobody likes fear. But I love what Will Smith said about fear in that one movie. I'm going to read it to you. Will Smith on fear. I always read it. You know that. Fear is not real. It can only exist in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present time and or may not ever exist. That is called insanity. Do not misunderstand. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. Why do I want to fear anything or anybody? Just trust God. Just trust Him. Just trust Him. It starts with you believing, and then everything falls into line. Anyway, first question. I'm gonna get the ones that emailed me first, and then I'll go to the Q&A and to the comments. Question, Kelby just came across a YouTube video from the IRS about coin dealers having to report and buy or sell transactions of 3,000 by the coin dealer. I heard it was 10, and many coin dealers don't. I know of several that don't. So if you need it, let me know. I called a coin dealer of a notable company and they said that that information was untrue. Do you know otherwise? If I were you, I would go to the coin dealer. I would give them your tax ID number of your foundation and sign on it as the executive director. And that way they can do a lawful report if that's a worry for you. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Next question. Jamie. I'm now getting more interested buyers via the broker I'm using for her business. Her business. Questions are coming in regarding the entity type ministry that I have. I have explained that I'm a private unregistered self-supporting ministry, not a 501c or an LLC or anything else like that. I think that I've gotten this directive before, but I'm just double checking if you could reaffirm what you said before. If they want to learn more about the setting up of a private ministry, they can get involved with his advocates and keep the structure with their own foundation, or they can purchase the assets and put them into whatever entity type they wish, if this is correct. One of the things I've had a couple people do in multi-million-dollar purchases, they got a consultation with me for an hour. I spent with a potential buyer. It's not needed. Jamie, if anything, you got to look at your business, the ministry portion, as a coat. Okay. You can take it off, you can leave it on. Inside the coat is the client list. Inside the coat is the business, the name, the title, the structure, the SOP, standard operating procedures you've created, the machine equipment. All of it belongs to the coat. The coat can sell all that internal assets to an LLC with the same name, same value as this, same name, same spot, same clients, all recognized by the people coming in. Nothing would change. No value consideration would be different because I switched coats. All I would be doing is taking the foundation off and putting on the LLC or putting on the C Corp or putting on the S Corp. And then I would take a simple agreement and transfer all of the assets to that entity for the valuable consideration of X, and then transferring the entity to XYZ contractually. You have nothing to worry about. If they are trying to figure out they want to use the ministry, yeah, you can hire me and put me in front of them for an hour. I will make them understand. Maybe not make them want to do it. Maybe I'll explain it just like I did for you. that we can put this into a C Corp. We can put this into an S Corp, and we'll sell you the client list, the names, the rights, the equipment, all of that stuff. We'll take this ministry code off and you can put on your business code. Next question. My wife has let me do the 1040 filing since we got married and is now feeling a bit nervous. Do tell. I tell her the water is fine, but she doesn't like thinking about it. Does she have any options to mitigate her exposure outside of the LPP? Listen, a wife filing married sole and separate for herself is okay if she's not going through the LPP. It's okay. She doesn't want to be a party to freedom. She can do a married sole and separate. And what you do between you and the IRS has no bearing. You want to protect the assets of the marriage. You want to put the home into a foundation, or the land, the home, the cars, whatever it is, so the IRS can't touch it, and she has control, and she has that reasonable level of security. Not reasonable, high end level of security. I would do that anyway. You know, any marriage, whether people are free or not, should be doing that. So don't worry about it. If she needs a conversation, let us know. We'll help out. In the comments of the Zoom link, our land loan company reported us to the IRS with Form 8300 for paying over 10K in cash the past month for payments. For what? They used my husband's social security card, reported it for us. We will have the land paid off next month and are moving the land into the foundation trust. You should move it now, right now. So we will not have to do the extra steps in the LPP and promptly to admit this mistake. So we made to protect our business and our new land purchase. Yeah, I would just, when you say, oh, so this is a land purchase, or is this you're paying the land off for principal payments? You're just paying the land off. I got it. And you're trying to move it into the private when you think it's paid off. Just move it into the private now. It doesn't matter if it's paid off. Doesn't matter if it's raw land. Doesn't none of that matters. If there's a note on it, you can move it into the foundation now. Pay it off whenever you want to pay it off. Super important that we get the assets that belong to us privately moved into the foundation. Super important. Times are changing quickly and we need to really nail that down. I'm looking over in YouTubeville for questions. You just helped me correct my affidavit and added court cases and demand letter for property taxes. I assume I should mail these out as a complete set. I don't know if they were meant to be together. Yes. I remember what I did for you. It's, you got to understand, Greg, I'm like doing a lot of that all day long. So my apologies about not remembering exactly about your specific thing. I'm meeting with Alex in the morning at 11 a.m. Pacific. Shoot me a text at that time to look into that for you, and I'll look into what should be going out together. Okay. So we can nail it. What type of affidavit would also be useful against the building department and their request for building permits? If you have recorded in the name of a foundation using fee simple absolute, there's no requirement for a permit. And why they think you need one, I have no idea. Are they like watching you build? Are they outside of your house? I mean, I don't know. Nevertheless, building permits are a thing of permission from people that don't truly own their house, but fee simple absolute in the name of meets and bounds, in the name of a foundation, you absolutely full tenure entitled to the center of the earth, can do what you want with that land, period. Look it up. I know people will think permits are required, and you know, and you got to think about this. If If you're wanting to sell the property, if this is a forever thing for you, don't worry about it. But if you're wanting to sell the property, you should consider permits because it could affect the value to a potential buyer on a sale side issue. But if not, just get done what you got to get done. They can come and make whatever claim they want. They can't fine you or tell you to tear something down on land you own. You get it? But you don't own a legal description in your name, period. Um, I'm looking for questions. Give me a sec. A lot of comments. No weapons formed against us shall prosper. Thank you. Um, yeah, but cannot register my email on Zoom. I was blocked. I don't know. I don't block anybody on Zoom. I've never blocked anybody on Zoom. I don't know what to tell you. God does not honor thieves. True. I don't know what you meant by that, but you may want to be more specific. What is your sign on the Arculus hard wallet? Just for some small amounts or small transactions. The Arculus, I don't know. Go to walletscrutiny.com. You want to look for a 10 out of 10. Walletscrutiny.com. Just type walletscrutiny.com into Google and you'll see a couple websites pop up. Go to that. What they do is they measure wallets on their open source nature. If they're an open source wallet that we can read the code on, that code gets dumped into that system and they check it for all these fail safes. And you want a 10 out of 10 for security. I use Trezor, all kinds of different Trezor models, T3, 5, 7. You should split it up between a few different, if it were me, Trezors, but I don't know about that Arculus wallet. Um, Last year, Trump loved Tucker and Candace. This year, he hates them. He's a traitor and here to tear the system down. That's his job. I've always told people to be careful with Trump. I've never took his side. Wondering that better SSM Foundation or a humanitarian foundation. I don't have a church yet, but plan to in the future. I would do a just a regular foundation. You can do an SSM. SSM is more for Foursquare Church. Humanitarian Foundation is a church, but for vested efforts that go outside that are, you on the road, doing work around the world, around the country, whatever. Google agent of truth, Joe Bannister, former IRS agent. Yeah, Joe Bannister went through a lot in the late 1999, 2000. I think he was acquitted, wasn't he? He did some time, but he was acquitted and flipped it all around. He was an IRS agent that proved the IRS doesn't have the ability to do what they do. Kelby, did you know that Disneyland is considered a federal defense plant? No. I do know they're a massive child pedophilia ring. I do know that they are on patented land in Florida. I do know that they don't pay taxes of any kind in Florida. I do know that. Anyway, Kelby asked you to take a look at my FOIA and no one ever got back to me. FOIA, Logan, we're going to do that tomorrow morning at 11. I get together with Alex once a week. And when we do these types of things where he requires me to jump onto something, that's just how it works. And it's been extremely busy for the past 2 weeks. So my apologies. Hang tight. I will look at it and don't hate me for scrutinizing it. Okay. I know a lot of people want to do things that are important to them and they write affidavits, but a lot of times I shoot down some of the things that they say, but I'll try to make it as painless as possible and we'll get to it tomorrow. Okay. Once we file the form to the IRS, does the need for doing a tax return end immediately, or for the end of the date? It ends the moment that you file your revocation of election, period, right then. But you need to qualify and bring you current from a filing standpoint through that date. Doesn't mean you need to pay on the taxes, but file an appropriate amount for the taxes, allowing for them to set the debt off. That's functionally operating the trust in honor. How's the best way to change our payroll be delivered to the foundation? Does a business still get a deduction? Yes, business gets a deduction. If it's your business and you're just going to pay the foundation, you just write a contract between the foundation and the business. What is the purpose of the foundation and why it receives the money that it receives from a pay standpoint? It could be for marketing, could be for a lot of different things. And you pay the foundation, the business takes the deduction, and the business can write a 1099 to the foundation, and the foundation does not need to file a return. Next question. Since March 6th, I have communicated via my ticket. Man, as for the same Q&A, response was clear and supportive, talking to him. How can we help you with that? And request. Terry, I met with you personally on a Zoom for a half an hour at no charge. What are you asking here? I did before on a ticket. We'll get to you. What are you asking for? I was told the same thing when I asked on the Q&A after that, man. However, the reply on my ticket again was there is no update on the W4 member use form nor completion date, as it is not a priority. I wonder if the other member got the results on the uploaded 2006 W4. I don't know. So, Terry, every single form, every single thing that needs to be adjusted, the DS11, all these different things. It's not, I don't know if every single one has been stayed on top of, amended, altered, changed, whatever. So instead of writing the exact details of everything, what do you need? You need a revised W4, standardized to the modern day W4. We haven't done that yet, and it's okay. You can make some changes or adjustments on it yourself, and you can submit it to us, and we can say yes or no. I don't know, but I do want you to know we care about you, and I cared about you enough to help you all the way through. And that's our heart. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. And we are finishing up the docs. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on our systems, back end systems, all this stuff. But if I were you, I'd just file the docs. Everybody, the docs are not on the basis of grammar and perfection and all those things. I've had 100 people go through our docs, thousands of people go through our docs. I've had 100 people make corrections. Just file them. Don't worry about perfection. That's us delaying a result. Just get them filed. If you're worried about how to file a W4 or whether somebody is going to say that W4 is sufficient or not, I've been filing old W4s forever. And we have a W4, and just you tell them, take it. This is the one we're going to file. And then the company says, no, you need to file online, or you need to file this one. This is the one we're going to file. They're not going to fire anybody because you're using an old W4. And we will work on getting it corrected if there's something. Again, I've read what you just said. I don't necessarily understand what you're trying to say. But it's hard to stay, and my point is, Terry, it's hard to stay up on top of all the docs that the IRS uses, is my point. But we made revisions to a W4 recently, so I need to look. I have a 2025 W4 member use form. I've asked for the 2026. I'll use the 2000. Yeah, just force them. Just force them. If you have a problem, make the revisions on the W4 for the 2026 and send it to us. And just look at the IRS 2025. Look at our 25. You know what I mean? Look at 2026. Make those revisions. We would love. I don't know whether we've done it already or not. I don't know. I have to be honest. But I truly thank you for, bringing it to our attention. It's just hard to stay up on top of all those things. Gotcha. Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. Sometimes people say things. I'm like, are they talking about me? I'm like, that's ugly. I don't want to be thought about it that way. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, I appreciate you clarifying that, Michelle. All right, guys, look, um, we have a new event. It was posted on hisadvocates.org this afternoon. We are going to start having in May on the 20th, we're giving time for the event to culminate. Posting it now in the live stream on YouTube, posting it on here on Zoom in the comments. The event is to help members that are new or existing, kind of like this, more personal, only for VIP members, because everybody going through the LPP needs to be a VIP member anyway. Big deal. But this allows me to look at you face to face and help you with problems, and to where you can instant communication and we can go back and forth and work through it on a more privatized basis. So this is going to start on May 20th, every other week. And it could go every week depending on how successful this is. But it's solving the issues. It's a workshop designed for the LPP members, new and existing, so that they can transform and communicate back and forth. Because we're trying to do it all for you guys. We've got a good trouble ticket system, a good ticketing system. We got decent response. It's okay. We're getting it better. We're creating a full knowledge base system. We're creating a Kelby bot that is going to suck up all the data, all the shows, all the Q&As, all the whatever, and be able to answer people on an automated basis. But we do have these weekly Q&As, and then now we are doing a personalized Zoom Q&A. This will not be published to YouTube. This will be the living in the private members going through it with personalized questions, and I'm just going to address their questions, and we're going to tweak and talk through what needs to be addressed. And I think people will feel like they have a better quality understanding of where they're going. I have to we set it out for 3 weeks, so we got time to market it and got time to get behind it and get ready for it. That's it. You guys, thank you. One more question. Eddie, I haven't filed since 2014, and I don't have the tax info anymore. I did an LPP 2 or 3 years ago now. Could I have a problem? How to fix it? I don't have the tax info anymore. What do you mean? What tax info? What tax info, Eddie? Terry said, I deeply appreciate, I know you do, Terry, and we appreciate you. I just, when you write these paragraphs and I'm live, I'm like, ugh. I gotta read the whole paragraph, and that's me being silent for a minute for 60 people, whatever it is, listening. We'll get the step 7 done. One of the things that I just got to shut down, but if I were you, I'd just do it. Make your corrections the best that you feel. Understand that these are your docs. I get it. People want perfection, but also understand perfection may be keeping us. Like for me, I always used to do, I'm going to prepare to maybe one day actually pull a trigger and get some work done. And that was me as a kid. Now I think I do. I think I do. I think I do. A little bit of action, a little bit of moving forward. It's an approach that we, need to start taking. I'm not saying you're not taking action. You're obviously taking action. I'm just saying don't worry about the perfecting the small things. Just get your perfections done. Know that I've got a list of things that needs to be looked at based on what you've said, and I'll be looking at it all. I'm going to actually be running all our AI docs, our docs through an AI bot. But I got to be careful because AI has a tendency to change things and make it legal. And I don't want legal. I want lawful. Anyway, God bless you guys. Have a great week. Go to our calendar for next week. I do want to make a quick announcement. We're doing the Thursday inspirational 9 a.m. VIP next week. I may not be doing the Tuesday one. I will be doing the Thursday one. And I'm saying May. I'm not 100% yet. So I posted the Tuesday one for the 12th, and I posted the Thursday one. I'll know by Tuesday of next week whether I'll be doing the Thursday one. But next this Saturday I'll be doing the hold on, I'm not going to be doing the prayer service on Saturday. I'll be doing it on Sunday. And then I'll also be doing the prayer service the following Sunday. So just look at the May calendar. The May calendar's posted, it's updated, and there's some things that are pushed out a little bit, but got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of exciting stuff happening. And I appreciate you guys, love you guys. Thank you for coming on. I will see you Thursday morning, 9 a.m., Sunday morning for our prayer call. God bless. Have a great week. Enjoy. Stop fearing these things. Stop worrying about things. Don't take things on. Don't breathe them in. Trust God a little bit. Try it out.